affected the whole world: deception, fights, deadly natural disasters, and the return of the mankind to the moon. Worldish, wars, and so many other heartbreaking moments and losses. Everything that marked 2023, you will see here with us on Time to Know. Saying 2023 was a crazy year is an understatement. There was no shortage of events to break the inertia and push the world out of its comfort zone. And we'll be going over each one of these events together, right after you hit the like button, right here. In February 2022, the media all over the world transmitted Russia declares war in Ukraine. Immediately, the world's eyes were all over the conflict between these two countries. On one side, one of the world's most powerful nations, a Cold War protagonist, a giant in territory and power. On the other, a small but prosperous and persevering country in its concepts and principles, resulting in a constant exchange of bombs and threats between these two nations in 2023, countless victims, and a trail of destruction that seems never-ending despite numerous attempts of a truce. Why would such a large country be interested in claiming so many lives for a simple piece of land? Ukraine's entry into the European Union and its protection by the United States are simply unacceptable for Russia. Once again, the Cold War seems to have no end. New players, the same dilemma. Still, in the same month, we would witness an entire country split in a catastrophic scenario with destruction and thousands of victims. Turkey was shaken by two consecutive devastating earthquakes, first of a magnitude of 7.8. But the Turks' relationship with uncontrollable and fatal tremors is not new. In 2022 alone, Turkey recorded more than 20,000 earthquakes, the majority below the magnitude of 4 on the Richter scale. That, according to the National Emergency Agency data. However, Turkey has a history of deadly earthquakes, such as the one that hit the region in 1999. That one had a magnitude of 7.6, leaving a trail of destruction and being responsible for over 17,000 deaths. Turkey's vulnerability can be explained by the fact that the country is located on one of the most active seismic zones in the world, with several geological faults. That's why the Turks always say geography is destiny, referring to an inevitable natural phenomena. Now, we can only pray and hope that the efforts made by all the locals and volunteers will be enough to make 2024 a less turbulent year in this region. We cannot ignore the constant heat waves that have been hitting the world, especially in tropical countries. The result of so much hot air gathered in one place could only be constant wildfires, especially in the driest and arid areas of the planet such as California and Australia. Extra precautions are needed, especially when it comes to children, the elderly, or animals, groups that do not always withstand with such heat. We all feel and suffer from the situation, and natural disasters become inevitable. Residents of various countries worldwide were able to witness a beautiful and rare annular solar eclipse, more commonly known as a ring of fire, in October of this year. The phenomena occurs only when the moon is positioned between the sun and Earth, resulting in breathtaking images. The eclipse was first seen on the west coast of the United States. Brazil was the last country to witness the astronomical phenomena in the afternoon, which lasted 2 hours. The whole world turned its gaze to see the eclipse reach its peak when the so-called ring of fire was formed. In other regions, if the weather cooperated, residents could also see the image of the sun being bitten by the moon. Tell us in the comments if you saw the eclipse, and what did you think about it? Remember the words, "Don't try this at home," that we all heard so many times when we were kids? Well, in June of this year, 5 people did exactly the opposite that anyone would advise them to do. They boarded a submarine, diving towards the Titanic's wreckage site in North Atlantic. This complicated and extremely dangerous mission, unfortunately, went terribly wrong. The maritime tourism company Ocean Gate Expeditions charged its passengers a hefty $250,000 for a spot aboard their watercraft. The mission started when a large vessel departed from Newfoundland, Canada, carrying the submarine. They were expected to reach the site in about 2 hours. However, the submarine lost all communication 1 hour and 45 minutes into the vessel's dive. The entire world held its breath while the 5 passengers were faced with this terrifying scenario. But despite all the efforts for search and rescue, the submarine could not withstand the incredibly unforgiving environment and imploded. The United States Coast Guard said the Ocean Gate vessel experienced a catastrophic loss of pressure in the chambers and confirmed that the debris found on the seafloor were pieces of the missing sub. The conflict between Israel and Hamas has now reached a death toll in the 20,000 and over 52,000 wounded, 70% of which constitute of women and children. Marked by surprise and cruel attacks to hospitals, churches, and specifically targeting children, this is one of the most violent conflicts in recent years. Countless hostages were cruelly taken, and hundreds of civilians died in this process. Counting losses is a challenge in any war zone, but the doctors in Gaza revealed that this number is even greater since it doesn't include the bodies under the collapsed buildings or the ones never taken to a hospital. India is the country that stands out the most in terms of technology and creativity, and once again, they show the world what they are capable of. In a historic achievement, in August, India became the first country with a successful mission to land on the moon's south pole, an unexplored region on the dark side of the satellite. In a live broadcast, they displayed a graphical representation of the probe descending on the moon. If the space race is back, India has definitely secured its place in the competition. This year also brought some really embarrassing events. During the competition, the eyes of the whole world were on the games played by the girls this time. Spain won the Women's World Cup in Sydney, Australia, but the celebration was interrupted by an extremely awkward situation. The president of the country's federation, Luis Rubiales, kissed forward Jenny Hermoso on the mouth during the celebrations, which resulted in an international outrage. The soccer player reported the act, which was deemed inappropriate, showing blatant disrespect and lack of consent. Accused of sexual assault by the courts, Rubiales has been suspended for 3 years by FIFA from all soccer-related activities. The scandal was portrayed in the media all over the world.
Agradecer a todos que estiveram comigo desde.
Sadly, this year was also marked by glaring cases of racism. One of the victims, soccer player Vinicius Jr., who plays in Spain, recorded at least 10 different cases of direct attacks toward him. Among the accusations are insults such as being compared to a monkey, threats, mockery, and prejudiced impressions. La Liga claims to be investigating and taking necessary steps for the best resolution of this conflict. It is disappointing to even imagine how some people still feel comfortable with such racist behavior. But we can only hope that as human beings, our empathy and intelligence, that are characteristics that separate us from other animals, will surpass and overcome such conflicts in difficult times like this. Without a doubt, this year was marked by wars. The conflicts were so numerous that many became numb to the images of hundreds of victims portrayed in the news. And we need to constantly remind ourselves that these are not just numbers, but human lives. Another conflict that shocked the world was the one in Azerbaijan, attacking the Nagorno-Karabakh region. a separatist territory with a majority of an Armenian population that Baku and Yerevan have been disputing for over 3 decades. In 24 hours, the authorities abandoned by Yerevan surrendered and a ceasefire was established. After this quick offense attack that left almost 600 dead, most of the 120,000 inhabitants fled to Armenia. Negotiations for a peace treaty are still ongoing. May the thousands of impacted families find safety and peace. However, 2023 was not only made up of wars or natural disasters. Humans are unpredictable as well. And how could we not mention the Hollywood movie industry? One of the events that drew the most attention in the world of fame was the writer's strike, where absolutely no one could write, produce, advertise, or even talk about movies. The reason? The new and rapidly advancing tech, artificial intelligence. Yes, directly out of the world of fiction turned into reality, making not only possible but accessible to research, create, and edit words, images, and sounds. ChatGPT and its successors were a surprise that broadened the horizons of many, but was also the source of great concern among the writers who suddenly saw it as a threat to their jobs. Additionally, writers were dissatisfied with the compensation for previous work. After all, they were earning much less than other professionals working on the movies, such as actors and producers. Huge successful productions were practically paying a minimum wage to these professionals. The situation escalated by the rise of streaming services. Before, when movies and series were mainly streamed by TV channels, each time the content was broadcast, the entire team working on the production earned a percentage of the profits. But with the new online streaming platforms, thousands of people watched the productions dozens of times, and the writers did not receive any extra compensation for it.
Oh no.
However, this did not stop director Greta and her partner Noah from giving us the astronomical success that was the Barbie movie and its immense pink wave worldwide. People flooded the theaters dressed in pink all over the world, and yes, I know you did it too. Oppenheimer tickled the curious scientists and thousands of us. The nostalgia of watching Avatar 2 brought back 14 years after the release of the first movie. New series like The Last of Us, inspired by video games, bringing to life dear characters, and depicting a post-apocalyptic world of nightmares, also had a meteoric success. It's okay if you cried. We did too. The strike also did not affect the Oscar ceremony, which was full of memorable moments. They had a bear and a monkey on stage. Well, but we also had the nostalgic hug with actor Harrison Ford and Ke Huy Quan. Lady Gaga without makeup, time for tea. And of course, there was a reference to The Slap, by Will Smith. However, the list of scandals in the lives of Hollywood stars does not end there. 2023 was also the year of a major dispute between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, his ex. Despite the allegations of assault, numerous hearings, dozens of evidence, the actor was found innocent. But that will make the damage caused by such allegations to magically disappear overnight. Jonathan Majors, the actor who played the villain Kang in Marvel productions such as Ant-Man and the Wasp, Loki, and others, unlike Depp, was found guilty of assaulting his girlfriend, and his sentence will have an extremely negative impact on his career, as Marvel didn't think twice before dropping him like a hot potato, cutting ties with the actor. Phew, Hollywood gave us a lot to talk about this year, don't you think? This year, there were also significant repercussions in the music industry. This time, Latin music gained a lot of prominence, and for the first time, a song completely in Spanish stole the scene. Beyoncé won a few more Grammys. The Queen has 32 awards and 88 nominations, becoming the biggest winner of all time. The Album of the Year awards went to Harry's House by Harry Styles. The Record of the Year was About Damn Time by Lizzo. Song of the Year was Just Like That by Bonnie Raitt. And the breakthrough artist was Samara Joy. But with Joy, we also had sorrow and massive scandals. The whole world felt an immense pain with the loss of an amazing artist, Tina Turner. One of the greatest global successes of all time, she will be eternally missed. After a difficult childhood and a series of problems in her youth, Tina was a success in the 60s, and her star will forever shine in our hearts. Betrayals are also an old companion of famous musicians. This year was no exception. Gorgeous, successful, and without a shadow of a doubt, a talented singer, Shakira has always been in the media spotlight. PK is an exceptional player, his talent and charisma are undeniable. But his betrayal was made public after Shakira found out that he was cheating on her. How did she do it? How did she do it, you ask? The answer is jam. Yeah, that's right, jam. Turns out that she is the only one who consumed said jam at home. But upon returning, she found the jam turned upside down, which was enough for her to connect the dots, and the marriage quickly ended. Apparently, this muse has also a hidden talent for being a detective.
Oh no! What?
Most of us only found out how eventful the year was for celebrities through the world's largest news-sharing social network, the Twitter. Through this little bird, we'd learned about practically everything happening around the world. And the big news this year was the purchase of this platform by the real-life Tony Stark, Elon Musk. A whopping $43 billion were paid for the acquisition. Definitely the kind of money majority of the people will never see in their lives. Immediately after the purchase, the billionaire made various changes to the social network, including badges, metrics, and rules dividing opinions. The platform, now called X, has taken on a new tone, taking a new approach in the years to come. Let's wait for the results. I'm always rooting for the users anyway. In November 2023, the world will still see economist Javier Milei of La Libertad Avanza movement win the presidential elections in Argentina, defeated the Minister of Economy Sergio Massa, who admitted defeat even before the official results. The victory is considered historic, both for being a triumph over the traditional Peronist and for bringing to power a candidate whose proposals and statements are seen as radical. Regardless of allies or opposition, Argentina will start 2024 with a meaningful change throughout the governmental system. If there's one thing that we know is that novelty can be scary, but the new can also be liberating. In conclusion, 2023 has been a wild ride. But regardless of the achievements or challenges that we faced, what really matters is always getting up and making the next year a new beginning. May 2024 be your year and a time to grow, innovate, learn. So, you know what? Subscribe and activate the notifications. Don't miss what we're preparing for the new year. You will not regret it, promise. Let us know in the comments what marked you the most this year, or what should be the theme of our next video. Tell us. Thank you, until next time, and Happy New Year!